I didn't know if I was going to come up to speak until you spoke with my friends. And it was actually the reason I feel like that I'm here. Because not only my 3 dear friends there in Boulder, but also other friends and family are close to death. And so it's hitting really fast and hard right now. And I guess I'll just cut to the chase. I'm very angry at God, and I'm really surprised because I didn't really think that I held that kind of image of God at all. But in the face of this grief that I'm feeling, I'm so angry that God would set it up like this. I wouldn't do it like this if I were God. I'm embarrassed to admit this, but
it's beautiful, because this is it. And so if I can, I would just like to show you what I'm seeing here. There's enormous grief. And that grief seems like a bottomless pit. So it's actually easier to feel anger. And not only is it easier to feel anger, but then if you can find a target for that anger, God, my God, who's in charge here, God. And then even that then goes into a mental dialogue. I wouldn't have done it like this. So if you just rewind, as Papaji would say,
yes.
You just rewind, you let go of that thought, you experience that anger, until it brings you back to that grief, and you open your heart to that grief, without a story, without a God.
I'm really going to miss these people.
That's true. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe you won't. So that's us. Now we're back up into the story of it. Mm-hmm. You don't even need the story. The story evokes the grief. It's just beautiful. I'm going to miss these people. So that evokes the grief. But don't stay with the story. Let your consciousness just be completely enveloped by this grief. Don't resist the grief, is what I'm saying. Open to it.
You waste no time, do you?
What's that?
I said you waste no time, do you?
No, why would we waste time? That's all we have. Just right all the way. Nothing but grief. No God, no people, no you, no control. No control. Because that's where the choice is, that you can control it. Even the anger feels better than grief. There's some power in anger. And then to find God, what is God thinking, How could he be so unevolved? To set it up like this. Mm-hmm. The promise of life, the beauty of life, and then the over. That may be legitimate. I'd say, let's assume, I think it's a skillful assumption that that's legitimate. How could God set it up like this? Like, how did we end up with a God like this? It seems almost malevolent at times, You see what happens, people's lives, the planet, the earth. So, as legitimate as that is, if you stay there, you're avoiding your own death in this moment. This grief.
Yeah. The grief does feel bottomless too.
Yeah, it does. That's why we avoid it.
I'm surprised at how bottomless it feels right now.
Yeah, that's right. So just there be no separation between you and grief. Endless. No hope that the grief will be over and then you'll feel free and then you'll be enlightened. Just what is here is bottomless. What are you experiencing?
It doesn't even feel bottomless, it just feels here.
And what's the experience of it? Just being here.
fear of my own death, and just sadness.
Okay, so if you just, for a moment, put the sadness aside, because that has its own course, just drop into the fear. That's what we avoid the most. Even sadness is easier than that fear.
It's so out of control. I'm just...
Well, that's the choice, to not be in control in this moment. Without a story.
Yeah.
What's here?
I'm just seeing different impulses to come up.
Excellent.
Like
That's
dramatically
excellent.
crying or going back to the rage or whatever. I'm just kind of...
Yeah, it's a very sobering inquiry.
Just allowing myself to just stay on the tractor beam here.
That's right. Stay on the fear.
Yeah.
Going deeper into it. That's right. All the impulses will give you legitimate justification for aborting what must be met.
And even right now, just the thought of, gee, I thought I've done this before.
That's the biggest one.
Yeah. It's like, I thought
I've already done this.
Yeah. No.
Never. It's
No,
always
finished.
fresh. It's always fresh. It's a deeper layer. I mean, our whole body is layered with fear. How else could we have survived? There's nothing wrong with fear. Fear is a physiological necessity. Fear of death, certainly a physiological necessity. Nothing wrong with that. It's not that it's wrong to feel this fear. It's just that there's a possibility of going even deeper than feeling it. Actually being it. Being one with the fear, where consciousness is one with this fear.
Just this doom, just this...
That's deeper than fear even. That's right, that's under fear. Fear is actually easier than that. That is the despair of birth and death. Despair of hope. There's hopelessness there. You have no control over birth and death. So there's a normally unmet despair. Doom. Doomed to die.
Yeah.
It's possible to not tell a story about that and just let yourself be one with that doom. What's that?
It's just that sense of doom, just reverberating in my body.
What is the experience of it when doom reverberates in your body?
Well, a lot of trembling and, just, it's like the body's falling apart before it falls apart.
How does that feel? It looks great.
Yeah. Well, so... It just feels like the release of a pent-up energy.
That's right. Exactly.
And the body just feels like it's following the thoughts, the anger, and the body does anger. Fear, the body does fear. Doom, the body falls apart.
How about you?
Oh.
Can you see him through your mind yourself? You have to see this. It's not in the words, obviously.
There aren't many words for this. This is the... When I see my friends, especially the ones in the Sangha, who are facing this in ways that just blow me away, because they're not running circles around it.
This is what you see.
That's what I see, and there's been even an envy about that too.
What's that?
Yeah, that's what I see. It's life. I see such life in them. I see such life in you. I feel such life here.
Yes.
That I can't explain it. I give up.
I can't either. Me too.
But it's just a supernova of just presence. I'll shut up. Thank you.
All I did was point you. It was your choice all along. And all I pointed you to was what Papaji pointed me to.
What Papaji points me to.
Yes, points. It's better.
Yes.
Better tense. More accurate. That's the truth. That's not to say that there shouldn't be conversations of commiseration and weeping over the death of these beautiful people. Of course. It's natural. It's human. But to get stuck in that is to avoid just the absolute dying. Is to avoid death. Show them this, people who can't see. It's not an abstraction. Every life has this opportunity.
Thank you for sharing this moment with me so much.
And likewise, thank you. It's always a fresh moment.
Yes.
We're here to share this moment together. This brief moment of life that doesn't exclude death. Yeah, let's just take a moment and let that run its course of reverberation. There's nothing wrong with anger at God, of course. We suppress that because we shouldn't be angry at God, but to experience that is important, essential. To avoid the doom, nothing wrong with that. Let's say that's important and essential. If you're going to feed the body, you have to avoid the doom. Get up, you go to work. But in a weekend like this, where we're really retreating into the truth of oneself, all of that stops. If you give up your notion of who God is, or what God should be like, should stop, should have stopped. And you're willing to meet what's under that, what's less safe than even that, which is not safe. That's scary. To curse God is very scary, but still powerful. It's standing up to God. To go under that, where there's just the rawness, the powerlessness, the despair of being conscious and out of control. It's amazing that that's where the choice is. It's not an empowerment choice. The empowerment is to get to that choice. And then it's opening. It may take you lifetimes of screaming and wailing and shaking and cursing. It takes as long as it takes. And if you have support by that pointing, as Papaji supported me by stopping me in my tracks with all of my stories, as you were willing to stop in your tracks, not to discount anything, but to stop, there is a discovery that includes everything. And then even retreat is not the right word. It's yourself. It's what's always here. In retreat, out of retreat. In anger, in fear, in despair, in doom, in sadness. In power, in powerlessness. Always here. You can wake up to yourself.